The #1 recruit in the 2026 class just reclassified to 2025, and we're going to find out what it means for Georgia. Julian Lewis just announced a few minutes ago that he is making the jump from 2026 to 2025, reclassifying. Now, Lewis is committed to Lincoln Riley at USC, but he's got visits planned to Georgia and Alabama this month. It's going to get interesting. I got Rusty Mansell on for this one. I also want to know if Georgia is going to sneak another 5-star recruit into their 2024 class. But before we get started, UGA fans, hit subscribe for me to the On3 Recruits page. We're growing this thing. We need you to be a part of it. Hit subscribe for me, please. All right, let's bring on the great Rusty Mansell. Now, I said it at the top. JuJu Lewis announced he's reclassifying to 2025. I don't think this is a huge surprise, Rusty, but how big of a priority will he be for Georgia?
Obviously, he's going to be heavily recruited by Georgia. He has been heavily recruited by Georgia. I know he's committed to USC, but Josh, in this day and age, that doesn't slow anybody down until that paperwork's signed nowadays. And he's definitely a person that Georgia is going to recruit. We are expecting him on campus, I believe, on February the 3rd. So that last weekend before the month of February becomes dead, he will be on campus. Not expecting a decision anytime soon, but kind of tells you, look, Georgia's in this thing. He's been to multiple games during the fall, and everything that kind of tells you without saying, Georgia's in this thing heavily. I'm confident in that.
Yeah, and this is really just the start of his recruitment. I mean, these visits coming up. Yeah. I know he's committed to USC and Lincoln Riley and all that, but he's from Carrollton, Georgia, and he just reclassified, so it is officially on for JuJu Lewis. All right.
A lot of people ask me about JuJu and why he would do that. Here's one thing that people aren't really putting together. Academically, it can be done. You have to do it about 2 years ahead of time. So he's had the option the whole time. But here's the thing, Josh. He played 15 games as a freshman. He played 12 last year. He's already played 27 high school games. If he plays another 13 this year, he plays 40 high school games. That's a 4-year career. So I think that's kind of getting lost in the shuffle as far as, hey, why is he even doing this? It's hurting him. As far as snaps in high school, I'm confident he's going to have 4 years worth of snaps, barring anything crazy.
Yeah, that is going to be one of the most highly anticipated recruitments coming up. We will keep an eye on it. All right, another major development that happened over the weekend, or that actually just happened. Top 100 cornerback Chris Ewald. He was on campus in Athens over the weekend. He was Michigan's top-rated 2025 commitment. That was until he decommitted from Michigan yesterday. How big of an impact do you think the weekend had on Ewald being at Georgia? Like just there for the T-Rob announcement. There was a lot of excitement on campus. Do you think that impacted his decision to decommit from Michigan?
Probably, yes, without a doubt. It also lets him know that how quickly things can change. You know what I mean? He's sitting there. He's Thursday afternoon, and T-Rob, his relationship with him, he's in Alabama. You don't know what's going on at Michigan. Is Jim Harbaugh going to be there? You get on campus this weekend, and like you said, there's a lot of buzz, and you probably just reset and go, you know what? I need to back off this thing and kind of look around, because he obviously is looking around if he's taking visits like this early on. And when you think about South Florida, you think about T-Rob. Today's his first day on the road, and guess where Georgia has him? They have him in South Florida. So the connections there will get right back into Georgia. Really, after losing James Coley, they didn't have the footprint they've always kind of had in South Florida, a little bit of that type thing. But when you look at Georgia and getting back into South Florida, that's a hell of a hire with T-Rob.
Absolutely. Making an impact and a statement with that hire. So let's rewind to the 2024 cycle. I know we're getting ahead of ourselves in 2025, but is there a chance that another 5-star could be added to Georgia's 2024 class? I'm talking about 5-star Terry Bussey, committed to Texas A&M, but LSU and Alabama were working hard for a flip, and now all of a sudden Georgia's involved?
Yeah, Georgia, he was down at Under Armour, and he kind of made that interview and said, hey, I'm probably going to OV Georgia. Everybody's like, what's going on? But I'm confident to think that he's the last high school prospect in 2024 that I think has a committable Georgia offer, what they would look at. In fact, Charles Power and I were texting yesterday about his position long-term. I know he had a really good season at wide receiver, but most people think his long-term is defensive back, and I think that's what he wants to play. So Georgia's recruiting him as a defensive back. Here's the thing, Josh. You want to see if they get him on campus, which I'm expecting them to get him on campus for an official visit. But when that happens, you'll know that things have ramped up a lot and I would give Georgia a legit shot if they can get him on for that OV.
That would be unbelievable, because as Georgia is cranking up 2025 recruiting, they're still on 2024 and could add another 5-star to an already #1 class. Rusty Mansell, thank you for dropping by the Inside Scoop, talking some Dawgs recruiting today.
Appreciate it.
Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed that content, be sure to subscribe to the On3 Recruits channel. We have a new page dedicated only to recruiting. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button right now.